I'm so interested in seeing what him and Quinn Ewers do this year. There's been so much hype.
We should have a pretty dangerous running back in Blake Corum.
Maryland's gone. Talia Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
A little too backyard football is.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football, and welcome to Let's Talk College Football on this Saturday morning. Hope everybody is doing well. So appreciate what's going on. Sydney talking about first, and Ben, good morning. Hey, shout out to my guy, Ben. Yo, you killed it last night. You had a great show, 2 hours. And Sid also on Andrew's show the time before. I'm telling you, Friday night is the night. Man, they got lots of shows. But look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so glad that you are here with us or with me on this Saturday morning. I hope it is well. Hope you're rested, getting up, getting some coffee, enjoying your day. Getting ready for some college football. If you got your team you're watching, if you bet on college football, getting ready for that. Hey, make some money. I took the year off from that, ladies and gentlemen. I took the year off. Oh my goodness, what is going on? What's going on, Kat? Love you too, babe. Yo, appreciate you being here on this college football Saturday. Look, and there's so many things on the agenda. There's so many things going on. First and foremost, I know you see I'm here by myself. My guy Alex Loosemore, he'll be here soon. Hopefully, if not, we'll keep it going. I'll definitely hold down the fort for my dude. Definitely check him out. He was on NFL Edition on Thursday night and then hopped on some shows last night. Yo, telling you, ladies and gentlemen, NSD, Let's Talk Football, Switten's Unfiltered, Zagniff Production, Nathan, we have this thing on lock. We are sitting there and trying to bring everything to you. And I couldn't be more excited to be a part of this group because these guys all love talking football, man. And all they want to do is bring it straight to you guys. So we appreciate it. Yeah, baby. Yep. So many shows. Absolutely. Don't agree with this comment. There's never too much football, but college football is here. Our college basketball is here. So I'm trying to watch both. You know, I'm trying to do it, but I'm still into football. What is up, Ash? Hope all is well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, and I appreciate you being with me. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our. Yeah, buddy, this is going to be our pep talk. And a pep talk is essentially just something to motivate our team, motivate our guys, motivate you, whatever it is. And I'm going to start with my pep talk towards my Tar Heels. Yes, basketball season is upon us. And we know we brought back 4 of our starters. And we're on a redemption year. We're trying to get back to that national championship. But this is not about them. My pep talk is for my North Carolina football team. We are 9-1. We have a quarterback that's in Heisman contention. Don't believe the hype. Guys, I need you to play football. Take it one game at a time. I understand we're already in the ACC championship, but you got a Georgia Tech team that has turned it around since the firing of Jeff Collins. Then you have an NC State team that's an in-home rival that would, even though they don't have Devin O'Leary, they have solid linebackers, solid wide receiver core, and they can shock some people. We still got to win those 2 and then potentially play Clemson, and who knows what happened after that. But we can't look down the road. Got to look at the one game that's in front of us, which is Georgia Tech today. So we will definitely see what happens. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been the Pep Talk. Yeah, buddy. Hey, look, I love this time of the year because there is so much football on the agenda. And I know, hey, if you love college football, you're just flipping through channels during the week because almost some of the best football is on. I know you like the big conferences, the big schools, then this ain't your cup of tea. But my cup of tea is football any day of the week. And in November, it's been like that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there have been football games. And let's go right into it. The College Football Scoreboard. We're going to go into a week of review starting with a Tuesday night football games. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, on Tuesday night, there were two games, and we have to start with Bowling Green. Look, Bowling Green was led by their quarterback, Mac McDonald, who had almost 400 yards in the air with 4 touchdowns in a 42-35 victory over Tulane. The shining moment in this was the receiver, Hillier, who had 8 receptions for over 240 yards receiving. My goodness gracious. They threw it all over the place. But the difference of this game was the 3 turnovers that the defense took away, not to mention the 4 sacks and 5 QB hits. Bowling Green was playing out of their mind. Now, Toledo stayed in the game. Tucker Gleason, their quarterback, 22 of 40 for 329. He had those 3 TDs, but we mentioned those 2 interceptions, and that was the difference in this ball game. I got to shout out, my guy Alex will be here soon. I got to shout out what Toledo did. I know it has not been the best of seasons, but Toledo definitely put up some points this week, and I'm going to tell you something. It was exciting to see them. Hey, look, they are 7-4. They were actually the favorites in this game, but Bowling Green, not somebody to sleep on, definitely came correct and got the W in a game that, hey, it's in the Midwest, Maction, so you know it was starting to snow around there. Looking nice, man. Look, shout out to Bowling Green, 6-5. They are now bowl eligible. Let's see what happens down the line. Yep, my guy Nick talking about all MAC games are shootout. Look, I need some Maction in my life, absolutely, because those games, you never know what you're going to get. It's going to be high scoring unless there's a lot of snow, but we'll talk about that one in a little bit. Look, let's move right along to the next game on the Tuesday night docket. And I know, ladies and gentlemen, for those of us, we were on Tuesday night, most likely, we're still getting over the hangover from the Monday night games, especially this week. Yes, my Washington Commanders got the W against the Eagles. But Tuesday is also full of these MAC games, and one of them being Ohio, not Ohio State. Nope, I'm talking about the Bearcats getting the W over Ball State. And look, Ohio is 8-3. Already bowl eligible, looking to potentially get into that MAC title game. We will see if they can finish out the year. This game was led by their running back, Bangura. He's a freshman, a true freshman, ladies and gentlemen, almost 150 on the ground with 2 TDs. But you also got to give credit to that special teams. That kicker, Nathaniel Volkos, 3 field goals and 3 extra points, counted for 12 points for that offense. That definitely helped them going down the stretch. So he pulled it out. Listen, John Paddock of Ball State tried to get it done. Almost threw 50 passes, 273 yards in the air, and 2 TDs. But for them, it was that rushing attack. 96 yards by a guy named Carson Steele. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think. I love that name, Carson Steele. Gives a little Carson Wentz to it, but then it has a little steel. You know, like a rough cigarette, a steel, you know what I mean? Pittsburgh in the 70s, that type of thing to me, man. So I am loving it. Yeah, buddy. Yep, Bobcats getting the W. So absolutely. What's up, Kyle? Sean with the morning news. Hey, you absolutely know. Hey, shout out to you, my guy. Hey, best wishes. I know you're moving today. Hopefully it's not a painful move. I know what moving is like. So, but shout out to you on this new movie in life, man. Hope everything is well and we could grace your ears with some of this good football news, man. Oh, man. Yes, the match is definitely a frantic pace. It's back and forth. And look, Ohio got the W. Ball State, 5-6. You thought this was going to be the one that's going to push them over to make them bowl eligible. But, hey, you still got, 2 more games remaining? Or actually, no, just one. They got Miami of Ohio, and Miami of Ohio is 5-6 as well. So they both need to pull out the W to get a bowl eligible. So we'll definitely see. And those were your Tuesday night games. And look, ladies and gentlemen, if you are thinking about what to do on Tuesday night, I do want to give you a number of shows to watch. Let's Talk Football NFC South Takeover, Let's Talk Football the Roundtable, and Let's Talk Fantasy Football all run on Tuesday night. So any of your NFL news, definitely check that out because it's definitely something you're going to want to see. Is DJ Stroud staying number one guy? I don't know. I mean, the stats don't lie, but I know with some of these pollsters, some of these guys that are, these voters in the Heisman hype, you might need to get that last W at the end of the year against Michigan, but we'll see. We'll definitely see if he keeps things going. Let's move on to Wednesday. Hump Day! Wednesday night football games. And look, there was 3 games on tonight, but there was one game that my mind was watching. Look, one of the things that I've always grown up with, my mom has always told me, and she's always loved it, and she shared the passion with me, on any given day that we're playing football, if it is covered in snow, you better be front row. I don't care how cold it is. I don't care where it is. You need to be front row. If you watch this game, the field was covered, absolutely covered in snow, and the score is definitely indicative of that. Western Michigan pulls out the W over Central 12-10, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, shout out to Western for getting the W, led by their running back, Sean Tyler, over 26 carries, 177 yards, and a touchdown. Look, this guy, if you watch the highlights, you would just see him go break left, dart right down the field. And it's like nobody could catch him. And everybody was running in slow motion in that snow. And then he'd break off right, and then he'd break down the field. So he was getting it done. And definitely had that thing moving in a time when you really couldn't have much offense. Oh, yeah, buddy. Bring in my guy, Alex.
Sorry to say.
Yeah, buddy. Yo, I was talking about that Western Michigan game in the snow. You could barely see outside. Beautiful football, but obviously the score is indicative of that.
Yeah. It honestly kind of surprised me because I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but that Central Michigan running back has played so well all year.
Yeah, Bert Emanuel? Is that him,
no.
Or is it? Let me see. Oh, no, Lou Nichols.
Yes, Lou Nichols. Yeah, he's been solid all year, so I expected him to have a big game, especially when I saw that weather.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite go that way, but those are the kind of games. I said it yesterday on the show with Andrew. I love those snow games, those blizzard games. As an offensive lineman, those were my favorite to play in.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I love to see that.
Yeah, and shout out to Ray Kennedy, who actually shed some light, because we're looking at this game, and then as we know, for those of you that are NFL fans, the Buffalo game against Detroit was supposed to be scheduled in Buffalo, but obviously the snow is, almost covering the stadium. You know what I mean? I think what did the stat they said, when you have the snow is higher than both of the running backs?
Yeah, there's a chance to get up to 6 feet of snow, and Chubb's 5'11" and Singletary's 5'7". So. Right. Yeah.
So for health concerns, we're glad they did move it to Detroit, but then you have a game like this in Michigan. You know the terrain, you know that area.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was anything that was going to stop Western Michigan from playing Central in this one.
Yeah, they were playing that no matter what.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, yeah, Western getting the W. Sean Tyler had himself a game recently. As of late, we talked about Lou Nichols, but he came off the injury, and really, like you said, he only had 35 yards in this game. He just doesn't seem, I don't know, maybe since the injury, maybe
he came back too soon.
That's what I'm thinking. I just don't know, because even at the start of the year, he seemed a lot better than what he's doing right now. So it's interesting. But while he's been struggling, a name that NFL fans might remember is making a resurgence, but it's not him, ladies and gentlemen. It's his son, Bert Emanuel Jr., has been showing up as of late. Last week, he had like an 80-yard run or something like that, and he balled out. This game, he had 98 yards on the ground with a touchdown. Also was 3 of 3 in the air. This guy, they're really starting to try to use him in every facet of their offense. It didn't show with the score, but I mean, with the snow, what do you expect? But
you can only do so much.
Well, right. Yeah, so Western does get the W, and staying in the state of Michigan, Eastern Michigan beats Kentucky 31-24. Look, this one was led by Taylor Powell, their quarterback, over 315 yards and 3 TDs. They had their running game going with Evans for over 90 yards and a touchdown. But look, Kent State, they only lost by a 7. They were in the ball game. Colin Schlee threw the ball. He ran the ball. They had some running game, but just could not pull it out in the end.
Yeah, and to me, I think you look at it, and Kent State's one of those teams that's better than their 4-7 record shows. They've hung with some better teams. They just couldn't get it done at home this time around. Eastern Michigan is the better team.
Yeah.
And their record shows it at 7-4. Congrats to them on being bowl eligible. Would have been a couple games ago now, and keep it rolling.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, like you said, Kent State played above their weight, if you will. Eastern's a little bit better. They had the lead going into halftime, 17-10, but lost the second half completely, with Eastern scoring 24 of their 31 points in that second half. So Kent was not able to sustain it, but hey, just keep fighting. I know pretty much the season's over. I think you only got a game or two left, if that. I think it's just a game left. Yeah. So Kent just play for pride. Play for pride.
Yep.
Eastern,
finish strong.
Eastern will be playing for a bowl. They are in a bowl game, so we'll see who they end up getting at the end of the year. One more Wednesday game. The Miami of Ohio team defeated my guy Nick's Northern Illinois 29-23. Miami of Ohio is one player, Avalon Smith, the quarterback, 185 yards and a touchdown, 100 on the ground, and 2 TDs, 3 TDs combined between him and then their rushing game, who had almost 50 carries for over 170 yards. Look, they're dedicated to the run. I'm gonna say that, Alex.
That is absolutely insane. And the quarterback alone had 20 carries himself.
Right.
Absolutely insane. So you know what you're getting from Miami of Ohio. They're gonna run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and just try and stop it.
Exactly. Over and over and over. Hey, and rightfully so, if it gets the job done. And not to be outdone, NIU, we know their running team, 32 total carries for 200 yards. It didn't show up in the game. They weren't able to pull it out. And look, in Northern Illinois, I feel for them. They're 3-8 right now. They've struggled throughout this year. They've had times where it's like, we could have made it. They could have upset here. We could have made it upset there, but it just hasn't been the greatest of seasons for them.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where I thought they'd be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But like you said, those pieces just haven't connected. They haven't really figured it out for long stretches of time. Like you said, there's those moments where it's like, hey, maybe this is where they start to get back on track, and then they kind of fall back again. So, tough season. Like we said with Kent State, just finish strong and rebound for next year.
Oh yeah. Now, Miami of Ohio is 5-6. They are one game out of potentially making a bowl. Let me check. I think they're
home versus Ball State next week, and the winner's bowl eligible.
Yep.
Their seasons are on the line next week, both them and Ball State.
So if you want to watch a game, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the Maction, they're going for their 6th win. I understand, but I'm gonna tell you something. This is going to be a game that you're going to take a look at because they're fighting for something. And at this time of the year, those are the ones you want to watch.
Absolutely.
Those are the ones you want to watch. So going right ahead, the Thursday night game, there was only one Thursday night game, and I actually messaged you on NFL Edition when you first got on about this one because it was ugly early, Alex.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it 35-7 when I messaged you?
Yeah, I think so.
It was
Yeah.
rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Well,
yeah. Look,
yeah.
Tulane quietly. I don't know quietly, but they're ranked 21st in the country
And they're
at
9-2.
8-2.
Like,
Yeah, 92, right?
yeah.
What? Ladies and
They're-
gentlemen, this is not your parents, your moms, and your pops, Tulane. This is
No.
a new team.
Well, they're in that running with UCF and all those schools for that automatic bid into the New Year's Six Bowl for that
Right.
group of 5 automatic bid. It's just that highest ranked group of 5 team. So if you look at that CFP ranking, it's them and UCF.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, UCF beat them last week, so they have that one spot up. But it's 20-21 right now, so they're both fighting for that New Year's Six Bowl right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you got quality wins over Kansas State, Houston, East Carolina, Memphis, you lost a 1-possession game a week ago to Central Florida, but then you get an opportunity to close out your season against last year's Final Four finalist, Cincinnati. So you want to talk about a season. I mean, they've got the strength of schedule. They've been able to win their potential games, and they haven't looked bad. And look, this is the same team that a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, they upset Oklahoma.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So Tulane, what they got going on over there, they are on the map. And look, if you want to look at it from a number standpoint, they're led by Michael Pratt, who had 6 total touchdowns, 3 in the air, 3 on the ground. I mean, look, that's where the offense runs through, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another one of those guys where you look at, say, Malik Cunningham from Louisville, and it's one of these guys where your game plan is, okay, if we stop him, we win this game. And SMU clearly could not do that on Thursday.
At all. Now, at the same time, SMU also helped a whole lot, giving Tulane 5 turnovers, 3 recovered fumbles, and 2 interceptions. Tanner Mordecai, just under 300 yards, had those 2 TDs, but you still give the ball away. You know, that's taking away possessions that you absolutely need. Tyler Levine had 18 carries for 80 yards and then also 7 receptions. This is all in a losing effort. Man, we're trying to spotlight something on them that did it. And I'm going to tell you something. It's something I've been talking to you about, Alex. You know, SMU this year is just a disappointment. I don't know what's going on with them.
I wish I had an answer for you, because with Mordecai and some of these other players, I thought they'd be that 8, 9, maybe 10-win team pushing for that group of 5 New Year's Six bid. And I mean, they got their tails handed to them on Thursday. They go toe-to-toe with Houston, that 77-63 game that did not go to overtime.
Where's that team?
Yeah, you want to talk about disappointing teams there? Right. They're right up there. They went toe-to-toe with Cincinnati. They got manhandled by UCF. They went toe-to-toe with TCU, toe-to-toe with Maryland. So, like, SMU's been in games with some very good teams. They haven't done enough to get those wins. And it's kind of frustrating to watch. I mean, probably as an SMU fan, it's extremely frustrating. But just as somebody that expected more out of them this year, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tale of 2 teams, like you said. I mean, we've seen they've gone toe-to-toe with teams. We've seen their offense can put up numbers behind Tanner Mordecai, but it just, I don't know, maybe you came up against a buzzsaw. Tulane is hot at the right time. Yeah. And they're trying to, like you said, they're trying to be in that conversation for New Year's Six. So we'll see. This definitely does not help to SMU, because, dear God, I don't talk about falling off.
Now they're bowl eligible, but what you're trying to play for as good a bowl game as possible, and sitting at 6-5 right now, it's looking a little rough.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. What is going on, Nathan? You know, speaking of one of the teams that beat SMU, Maryland beating them 34-27 earlier in the season. Yeah. You know, damn. So, hey, shout out to SMU, man. Like you said, they're still bowl eligible. that I know they're happy to have this one behind them, and they end off the season with Memphis, who is Memphis is 5-5. They're going for their opportunity to get a bowl game, so they're going to give you their best shot.
Oh yeah,
SMU, go out the right way, man. Go out strong for sure. Let's get into it. Yes, you did. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's go into the Friday night games from last night. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. This is why you need to watch games regardless of the score of their records. Tulsa came into this game 3-7, and South Florida came in this game 1-9. If you look at that, you're like, I'm next. I'm turning. The final score was 48-42. Ladies and gentlemen, if you did not watch this one, you missed a gem because these guys were going back and forth. There was numbers all over the place. You got Braylon Braxton having over 300 and a touchdown with 20 yards on the ground. You got Byron Brown with 240 and 3 TDs in the air for South Florida and 76 yards on the ground. I mean, the quarterbacks were playing out of their minds today. And honestly, this game came down to about 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers that Tulsa that lost, and South Florida lost, and hey, that's what happens sometimes. But I mean, what a game though.
Yeah, it was. This was one where I checked the score last night before I went to bed, and I was like, man, I wish I would have watched that game. Like,
right?
Those are the kind of games, like you said, those records. It makes it so you might not want to watch it. But like you said, sometimes these are the best games.
Yeah. And
clearly it was a very good game. Defenses decided not to show up other than those turnovers. But yeah, it's a very fun game. Wish I would have had the chance to watch it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is one of the ones where I was like, dang, I might need to, if I got a minute, I might need to jump back in this and watch the highlights or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nate said, don't sleep on SMU though. Oh no, not at all. They put up, we talked about it a minute ago. They put up 77 against Houston. We know they can put up the numbers. It's a tale of two teams essentially, because they play tough against you guys and some of those other squads, but they got just thrashed 2 nights ago, 59-24. So yeah, definitely not sleeping on them, but it's
trying to figure out what's going on.
Right. It's frustrating if anything else, because we were the ones talking about them. Wisconsin could make a bowl game. Wow.
Yep.
Could happen.
And it's crazy to think for how bad they were.
Yeah.
For them to be bowl eligible, it's one of those surprises where even Oklahoma, I was pushing for the longest time that they weren't going to be bowl eligible. So that's another team where I'm like, okay, like, yeah, they surprised me a little bit.
Oh, yeah. And if they can get that upset victory today against OK State, ooh, watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out. Yo, one more Friday night game. San Diego State getting the W over New Mexico. I'm going to be honest, this is not much of a surprise. We talked about how poor New Mexico has been this year. 2-9 is their record, so it's been rough. For instance, this game for the most part was their quarterback Jalen Maiden of San Diego State. 15-24 or 15-25, 280 and 2 TDs. Only had that 1 interception. They were able to move the ball. They were able to run the ball, pass the ball with very little obstruction. Honestly, New Mexico just is not that good of a team. I don't know what to really say. San Diego State did what they were supposed to do in this one.
Yeah, this is about exactly what I expected. San Diego State is the much better team, and they showed it.
Absolutely. Now Hassan is.
Yeah,
they are.
They're
and look, they've been
doing a problem.
Right, they've been doing this the last couple of years. I remember last year that was one of the teams I was very nervous about going into the March Madness, because they are a team that can run with you. And not only that, they can shoot the lights out if they're on.
Yeah.
If Houston is on, they can absolutely shoot the lights out. So that's definitely a team that I am interested to see how it goes on down the line. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we are so glad that you are here with us with your guy, Sean Spencer, and my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore. And we're going to be right back. We got some good things for you. I want to go ahead really quickly and shout out some of the other shows we have on the Let's Talk Football community of shows. There are so many, and I need to get a commercial also for the NSD, for Ben's show, we have so many guys doing so many things, and it is absolutely amazing. Oh man, and never my wildest dreams would I have expected this type of thing, but you know what? I'm taking it in the stride, and we're gonna keep moving. So we will be right back after this. Yeah, buddy. Welcome back to Let's Talk College Football with me, Sean Spencer, and my guy, Mr. Alex Loosemore. And hey, look, real quick, speaking of college basketball, I don't know, but I know one team over there doesn't have any more timeouts. That's we're just gonna leave it right there. Let's go. Tar Heel Nation, baby.
We had a rough one this week, too. We lost to ASU.
I saw that game, man.
Yeah.
What? I mean, now, first and foremost, they shot the lights out. So
yeah,
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But outside of Dickinson, your big guy, nobody else
showed up. Yeah, nobody else showed up.
That's
nobody
crazy.
else got off the bus.
Yeah, I even watched Howard's kid. He just I don't know
that night. Yeah.
Yeah, I look. I don't know. We're gonna. It's gonna be interesting to see going down the stretch. The good thing about this is, ladies, this is November. This is just November. There's a long time from February, March, and potentially April going down the line. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Let's Talk College Football. But yes, college basketball is integrated in all of this because it's here. It's here, ladies and gentlemen. So stay tuned for that. But while we have you, look, we talked about all the games you have going. We had this past week, and we're talk about the games coming up, the CFP, the Heisman plots, the games that are going on today. But in life, you need protection. More ways than one. Take that how you want to. I don't know if Hammy, Jamie, and them are going to come in the comments after that one, Jason. But you need protection. And me, coming from a running back, the best protection is an own lineman. And hey, I got my guy here, and he has a little segment for you called Loosemore's Lineman.
All right, so I've been spotlighting some of these guys from these bigger time schools. Did Olu Timi last time, the center from Michigan. Did Peter Skronski from Northwestern, as he's one of the top tackles in the draft. I want another tackle this week from the number one school in the nation, Broderick Jones, the offensive tackle from Georgia. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. He's played like a 5-star the entire time. He's 6'4", 310. He's a redshirt sophomore, so could come back and play another 2 years. I fully expect him to go to the draft this next year, so he'll be a first-round pick. So in 2020 as a freshman, Jones saw action in only 2 games before being redshirted, played a total of 25 snaps. Didn't allow a quarterback hurry, a quarterback hit, or a sack. Was playing right tackle. As a redshirt freshman last year, played in 11 games for a total of 434 snaps. He gave up 5 quarterback hurries, 1 quarterback hit, and only 2 sacks. Very solid season, moved over to the left tackle. So playing guys like Will Anderson and the best pass rushers in the SEC that you got game in and game out, played Aiden Hutchinson and Ojabo at Michigan in that bowl game, or the college semifinal. So played some very good edge rushers. So those kind of numbers, that's extremely solid. I didn't get his numbers for this year, but he's been solid the entire year. Georgia, obviously, is one of these teams that everyone's watching, and you haven't heard his name hardly at all, which as a lineman, that's a good thing. So, yeah, just extremely solid player, working himself into the top offensive tackle in this draft, and rightfully so. He's an extremely good player. So I did the scouting report again, strengths and weaknesses. Has very strong arms and an extremely powerful grip. Displays that core strength and leg drive to create movement, whether it's a bigger D end in a 3-4, whether it's those smaller linebackers, whoever it is, he's moving them, and he's shown that. An extremely agile mover, puts his length to good use. He's got those longer arms that you want in a tackle, so he's going to play tackle at the next level. Uses those hands aggressively, lands a solid punch right off the bat. He moves to the second level very, very well with the coordination and balance to hit that moving target on those stretch plays, those outside zones. Rarely misses a block at that second level. He's very smart, more cerebral player is the word I would use. Quick to react to twists and stunts that the D-line does, which is very difficult even at the college level for offensive linemen to do. You see them struggle with that quite a bit. He rarely messes that up. And an underrated thing, shows an excellent understanding of angles. When he's in the run blocking, as an offensive lineman, you don't have to drive the guy 30 yards or 50 yards like you see on the blind side and throw him into the stands. You can easily just turn and wall the guy off, and that's an amazing block. And you'll go into film, and you'll get praised by the coach. So he shows an excellent understanding of, okay, the run's going here. I just have to turn this guy this way. And does it time and time again. Shows up on tape all the time. Another tough thing a lot of guys struggle with, even at this level, is double teams and combo blocks, getting hip to hip and kind of pushing off, and then taking over the block or moving to that second level and getting that linebacker. He does not. He's shown a very good feel for those combo blocks. Displays good quickness and flexibility getting off that double team to that linebacker, and capable of sealing that backside on those reach blocks again with those angles. Very solid. Constantly explodes off the line of scrimmage. I said for Skoronski that first time, when you watch the tape, he's typically the first guy off the line on either side. Broderick Jones is kind of the same thing. He anticipates that snap, and sometimes he's hitting these guys before they hardly even move. It's very impressive. Helps him get to that second level or to drive those guys back. Weaknesses, there's a couple. And again, he has the traits to improve on all of these. More in pass sets for him, pass blocking. He gets impatient. So there's defensive ends and edge rushers that will kind of rush and then do like a stutter step and then do their move. And he'll tend to lunge, which then you get your head down. That's an easy swim move. They get right by you, or they can do whatever they want with you at that point. Lunges and reaches, and that's where you'll see him occasionally play with that poor balance. And he's inconsistent with his kick slide. So when he's kicking back to go get that defensive end, sometimes they're little short kicks and sometimes they're very long kicks, and it kind of goes back and forth between the two. So more just work on that technique in pass pro. Has an outside chance to stick at left tackle at the next level, but the way it's looking right now, I would probably move him to right tackle. Just with some of those issues as that pass pro, until those get fixed, you'd rather your quarterback see the guy coming, in my opinion. And occasionally, and this is very rarely this one, I was getting very nitpicky because there wasn't too much with him. Sometimes he'll stop his feet at that initial contact, and then he's got to try and just manhandle the guy to get him going again. And at the next level, he's not going to be able to rely on his length and his strength to get some of these guys moving. So just another thing he'll have to work on. And with the pass rush, when he tries to rely on that length and lunge, he gives up an inside move a lot. So you'll see Hutchinson did it a couple times last year against him, where you run outside and spin back inside because you get him to lunge and he kind of lunges out, leaves that open lane. And yeah, that's available quite often against him. But very, very solid player, one of the best tackles in college football, and will be a first-round pick and a very good tackle in the NFL for years to come, I think.
Yeah, buddy. And that, ladies and gentlemen, has been... Yeah, buddy. Let me ask you this: how were you with your kick step?
That was one of the things I was really good at. That was one thing pass pro. I made sure I was solid and consistent, because that was one thing where a lot of the teams I was on, we ran the ball a lot. So I know it sounds kind of weird that I was working on my pass pro so much, but it was one of those things where even though it didn't get used often, when it was there, I wanted it to just be second nature, not even think about it. So with so much running the ball, you can work on that as you're going. Yeah. So pass pro was one thing I wanted to be down pat every time.
Now, from a lineman perspective, you talked about, him doing the kick out, but then, lunging and getting impatient. What's the number one thing that you would worry about? I mean, they didn't pass on you, or you guys didn't pass that much, but when you did, was it that double move? Was it, bull rush? Like, what was the one thing that you were like, okay, please don't do this to me? You know what I mean? Like, or was it anything?
So when I was in high school, I was one of the biggest guys, so I didn't have to worry about the bull rush that much. Yeah. It was more of those speed guys where it's like, okay, I'm kicking and now I got to go way quicker.
Yeah.
And just try and run the guy around the hoop, as it's called, and have the quarterback step up. But when I got to junior, I was one of the smaller guys, so that bull rush was definitely a thing. Those double moves, I had one guy on our team my first year, and he would do that double move, and he did it so well, and he was so quick, where he'd kind of make that rush upfield, go for that rip, and then as soon as you locked onto him there, he spins back inside. Ooh, and it was deadly.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where, as a lineman, what I try to teach guys at a younger level is there's a technique where obviously your hands should be up here, and you kind of flash your hands like this, like you're going for that punch.
Yeah.
And it gets them to start their move early, so you can kind of see what they're doing, react to it, and go. So flash those hands and then go from there.
Oh, I could dig it. Yeah. Like all you young offensive linemen, just gave you a little tidbit, gave you a little secret there. Come on, pay attention. But look, I love this segment. It's one of my favorite segments, but I'm more excited because my guy is helping out back on NSD with our guy, Mr. Andrew Faubert. I love that. And there's a new show coming down the pike, sir. Talk to us.
So I'm going to start it in the off season because it feels weird to start it in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
But pretty much right as the season ends, whether we don't make playoffs or we do when we get eliminated, I'm going to kind of start up a Lions show here. I'll do once a week, maybe twice a week if some big news happens. And, just talk everything Lions.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to tell you, I love doing the NFL shows. I know I'm doing the full college shows. But the one show that I know you've noticed this, that I dive into so much, that Washington show, talking about my team, breaking every single thing down. I know you are going to be in love with that, especially in the offseason, going up into the draft and the move. Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, and especially the 5 picks in the top 60, 70. And if we cut some of these guys that I think we're going to cut, we're going to have like $70, $75 million to play with in free agency. There's lots to look at there.
It's wide open. That's the one thing, especially, and I think you could agree. I think we're kind of in the same boat. We kind of both look forward to the off season.
That's
the time when we kind of both shine, do all these moves. We're like, oh, we're gonna dominate you this year.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like, okay, here we go. That's why we're in college right now.
9 wins this year. So right. That's what I was hoping for.
Right. Oh God. But look, we are moving on, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the games because obviously there's a lot of games going on.
Yeah.
But we definitely need to dive into and take a look into the CFP, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting to that point. We're in November. We are right down the road from the conference championships and the CFP. I mean, I'm excited. It's great. It's also bittersweet. We know this is toward the end. But right now, I'm just so overwhelmed with so much football. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm not thinking about any of that stuff. So, look, right now, the current CFP looks as such with Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, all of them still undefeated at 10-0. You got 1-loss Tennessee, a 2-loss LSU, a 1-loss Southern Cal, 2-loss Bama, 1-loss Clemson, and a 2-loss Utah. Wow. I mean, that first four right there. I mean, obviously 2 and 3, we know you guys are going to have to play them. Explain that, because I know you had talked about that yesterday on the show. If you said if Ohio State loses, then they could potentially be in. But if Michigan loses, that's it for them.
So I think there's going to have to be chaos for Michigan to still get in. I think TCU obviously has to lose. I think Tennessee probably has to lose. Georgia has to win the conference championship game. USC probably has to lose their championship game. And then even then, you're putting them up against a 1-loss, either Clemson or North Carolina ACC champion.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, how much do we really value the conference championships?
Right.
So, but to me, I think if Ohio State loses, and I think for either team to have a chance, they have to lose a close one. Yeah. If either team gets blown out, that's it. They're done, I think. Yeah. Now, if, say, Ohio State loses by a field goal, they've still got a win over a now ranked Notre Dame and a win over a ranked, potentially soon to be top 10 Penn State. So that resume looks a little bit better than just Michigan's Penn State.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, Ohio State has a better shot to get in as that 4 seed than Michigan does.
Yeah.
I think Michigan needs to win more.
Yeah. I can see that. I can see that. Now let me ask. So, one of the things that you were saying yesterday, George and I are pretty for the most part, I agree with you. Georgia's a lock. They're in there. TCU controls their own destiny. They have to win out.
They win and they're in.
Yeah, and they're in. Yeah. You have this. You just explained the Ohio State Michigan situation. Now, if Michigan loses, or if Ohio State or Michigan, one of them gets blown out, who jumps in? Is it automatically a Tennessee, knowing that they're not in the SEC championship? Is it an LSU, a 2-loss LSU, if they're able to win the SEC championship? Like, who has the front? I mean, and I don't even want to go. We can go to USC with there being a 1-loss, but it's widely known that they haven't really played the toughest competition. And when they actually did play a tough team, they got beat. So what are you thinking?
Now, I will say with USC, if they run the table, that means they're beating UCLA this week, a very highly ranked team. They're beating Notre Dame, another ranked team.
Solid team.
And then they're going to go beat a Utah, a Washington, an Oregon, somewhere in there, another very good ranked team. So if USC wins, they're probably in. Then I think it would go Georgia, the winner, Michigan, Ohio State, TCU, and USC.
Yeah.
Now, if LSU wins, then it gets interesting because you kind of look at a few years back when Auburn beat Alabama. Auburn went into the conference championship game and lost to, I want to say, who did they lose to that year? I think it was Georgia.
Yeah.
And Alabama snuck into the playoff as that 4 seed.
Didn't they leave Georgia out or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody that was above them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think at this point, if LSU wins the SEC, Tennessee probably still sneaks in over them, I would think. Although that's a tough one because you also got to look at how LSU lost and when they lost. And those 2 losses were early.
Yeah.
So, and it's a neutral site game to Florida State in week 1. And I can't remember the other loss, if I'm being honest. But they've been on a tear lately. They beat some good teams. And if you go in and beat Georgia, that might be enough to get you in.
Right. I mean, we're talking about strength of schedule. So if they, and you look back at that Florida State loss. Now, right now, Florida State is 19th in the CFP.
Yeah.
At 7-3, and that's an extra point away from us not even having that conversation, and potentially LSU being higher than they already are right now. But like you said, they're playing well right now. They've got the W's, obviously getting it one over Alabama. So that is huge for them. But look, speaking of Alabama, every year we're like, oh, there has to be chaos for all these other teams to get in, but there needs to be chaos.
Absolutely. You want to talk about that? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, what honestly, what chances does Alabama have right now to even make a case to get into the Final Four?
I don't think they have one, because you need Michigan to lose or Ohio State to lose, which that's going to happen, one of them. You need TCU to lose at least once, if not twice. Mm-hmm. You probably need Tennessee to lose. You probably need LSU to lose that conference championship game. You need USC to lose. You need Clemson to lose. You need Utah to lose. Like, not only do you need the teams in front of you to lose, you need some of these teams behind you to lose too, because they've still got games to play for. Exactly. So I think Alabama's toast. I think Clemson's toast. I think Utah's toast. I think it's these top 7 teams and you guys.
Yeah. I
think those are the 8 teams that still have an argument to get in. Or I'll add UCLA as well.
Right. Yeah. So and then I guess that's my next question is which 2-loss team? I mean, we know about LSU, Bama's, we know about that. But like you said, you start going down to the Utahs, Penn State, obviously Oregon's, all these. Bedlam. You're going to need complete craziness to go ahead and break down to happen. So let's start going into outside looking in. You mentioned us. We got Georgia Tech, which on paper, obviously, it should be a blowout, but this is a different team since they fired Jeff Collins. I talked about that earlier. You got Oregon at 12, 8-2, and they are playing number 10 Utah also at 8-2. And then you got UCLA at 8-2. They're ranked 16th, playing number 7 USC.
Yeah.
We have one loss. Yes, right now we're on a path. We're in the ACC championship, potentially playing Clemson, another potential one-loss team. But I think the bigger question, and you alluded to it earlier, the ACC. It's not known to be one of those perennially tough conferences, even though it has the Clemsons who've been to 6 out of the last 7 CFPs. Prior to last year, you know what I mean? And you have Florida State, who's been up there for a while, but obviously there's not that many teams that you can really hang your hat on. Is this one of these just fluke years? Or, I mean, how much does the pollsters and the CFP voters, put stock in a 10-11 win and 1 loss North Carolina if they make it?
I think you definitely got to give them consideration to get in because of how they've been.
Yeah.
You've got Drake May, is one of the best quarterbacks in the nation right now, and the numbers back that up. You've had electrifying games with Appalachian State. Notre Dame was a very good game back and forth. Miami was a fun game. Duke was a fun game. Mm-hmm. Virginia was a fun game. Wake Forest is a fun game. And you found ways to win both on the road and at home.
Yep.
So I think it's a good resume. You still got NC State and probably Clemson. That's 2 more ranked wins.
Yeah.
As long as NC State handles their business. This week, it'll be a ranked win when you guys play them. And then obviously Clemson will be a ranked win, probably both 1 loss. That's going to be a top 10 matchup.
Yeah.
So I think that might be enough with, say, an LSU probably loses, a USC potential loss. You guys will jump Bama. You guys would obviously jump Clemson. You jump Utah, Penn State, Oregon, a lot of these teams. You're going to be, if you guys win out, you're going to be in that potentially 3 through 6 to 7 range, I think.
Yeah.
And you've got a good argument to get in, if you ask me.
Yeah.
As for Oregon, those 2 losses definitely hurt, especially one of them being to Georgia, who's in.
Yeah.
And it not being close.
Not at all. Yeah.
Now, that Washington loss, it's Washington's back in the rankings, so it looks a bit better, and it was by a field goal. If you beat 10th ranked Utah and currently 23rd ranked Oregon State, then you're in the conference championship game playing a USC or a UCLA. And if you win that, then you're going to be same thing in that I would say probably 5 through 7 range for them.
Yeah.
Penn State doesn't have enough to get in. UCLA, same kind of thing as Oregon. I think if you win out and beat some of these teams you got to beat to get in, because I don't know who they play the last week. Oh, they play California. So I don't think their resume has enough to get in.
Yeah.
Personally, I think they're toast. Well, they've got the 2 conference losses, so they need Utah, USC, Oregon. They need USC and Oregon to at least lose a game each. And being all the way down at 16, I think it's too little, too late.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think North Carolina, I'm one that says they should be. I would put them at 10.
Yeah.
But it's also a very good Utah team, very good Penn State team, and very good Oregon team that you're lumped in with. So you guys handle your business. I think you should be in, but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it's definitely win out, and you kind of control your own destiny. At least you control that part of your destiny. And look, like you said, like we've been able to get it done. That's one of the things that Coach Mack Brown was saying is that these guys just find a way to win.
Yep.
We're talking about strength of schedule, and I understand that ACC is not as strong as some of these other conferences, but what is strong is winning on the road. If you can win on the road and do it consistently, that proves that you can play anybody, anywhere, anytime. We are undefeated on the road this year against some solid teams. Some of them that are definitely ranked or are definitely top tier. So that definitely will both help us and work in our favor. Shout out to Ben. How awesome would it be if UNC wins out and actually makes the top?
I want to see it.
That would be great. That would be great. And this year we have an opportunity. So 4 or 5 years ago, Sam Howell's freshman year, we had a similar opportunity. We only had 1 loss. We got ourselves into the ACC championship. We lost 37-33 and lost some of those games late. We actually played them earlier in the year with an opportunity to get a 2-point conversion and win. Ran an option play, which was ridiculous. I still remember that. And wasn't able to get in there, and then obviously the strength of schedule and a lot of other things played in. We have the caliber of team to do it. Our defense has been playing a lot better with Gene Chizik as DC. And then Mac Brown's got, Drake May, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. We can do it. It's in front of us. But I'm just going to, let's take it day by day. We got a pesky Georgia Tech team that's proven that they can get W's over big name squads. So we'll see what happens. Oregon, I pretty much agree with you. I think if they get the W and then continue winning, it's going to be an interesting conversation, but you can't erase 49-3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You cannot erase that. So I don't know what to tell you on that one. And as far as UCLA, they are too little too late is pretty accurate for me. And that loss against Arizona State, and then they just lost to?
Yeah.
Yeah, that don't look good. That don't look good.
And especially how the loss happened, because you got punched in the mouth early, you responded and got punched in the mouth again.
Exactly. Yeah, that
doesn't look good.
No. So we will see. Those are the outside looking in. Is there anybody else? I mean, I know Kansas State, Ole Miss, Penn State you discussed. Anybody else on the list that you think is
No, because for a team to be that far down, the conference championship game is going to matter.
Yeah.
So I think the only teams in that area that you could discuss in a conference championship game are Oregon and North Carolina, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State won't get in because their 2 losses are in the division. They're automatically pushed out. Kansas State is a 3-loss team in the Big 12 championship game. As a Big 12 fan, you better hope TCU wins out because then you'll get a spot in there because Kansas State ain't getting it. There's – like I said, there's about 8 teams I would say have a shot still. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, obviously all undefeated. Tennessee, LSU, USC, and you guys.
Yeah.
I'd say that's about it at this point.
Yeah. Now, because we got our guy Ben in here, and we do have a 7-3 Florida State that's ranked 19th. They do have a win over LSU that potentially, LSU, we talked about them being in the hunt. If LSU, I mean, obviously you need every bit of chaos to potentially happen. You know what I mean? Like that 2007 year when like 6 or 7 teams were ranked number 2 at one point. Like you need that type of chaos. With that victory, how high does that push the bottom? I'm not necessarily talking about Final Four because they already have 3 losses.
Yeah.
But can Florida State maybe potentially year 6? Maybe
they'll be right on the edge of that, I think. Yeah, because actually that's tough because most of the New Year's 6 spots are locked to certain conferences.
Exactly.
Now you'll have probably at least 3 conference champions in the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
So that might free up some spots for some at-large bids, but typically those go to the conference. So what they would need to do is they would need Clemson to lose probably twice, and North Carolina to win the ACC.
Yeah.
So then you have 3-loss Florida State and 3-loss Clemson for that at-large bid.
Yeah.
And Ben, I don't believe so.
Mm-mm.
It's
that
been
one
undefeated
year,
or
did
1
Bama-
loss.
I don't think Bama got it that one year.
Here, I will get an answer.
Yeah, look that one up real quick because I know there was one year that people were making a lot of fuss about Bama. They had lost. I don't know, maybe it was LSU that year. Way
I think it was the year that they snuck in after Auburn lost the title game.
Yeah. One of those years down the line. Huh. Well, yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that for you, Ben. But it's very rare. We definitely know that.
Yeah. That's not going to be the way to look. Yeah, I will have an answer eventually.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it was. I think it's only potentially happened once, but it's not very common. But yeah, we'll definitely get you that answer. But look, let's go ahead and get into it. We know Week 11 is here, and there are a number of notable matchups. And I'm not holding up. So no, hey, it hasn't happened. So yeah, it has not happened, Ben. So it would be interesting if it ended up doing that this year. We're into Week 11. We've got a number of matchups on the docket. Alex, I'm gonna give it to you. What we know the big name matchups, but what are some of the matchups that you're potentially looking for that might steal the show?
I mean those 2 Pac-12 matchups right away. USC, UCLA. Glad to see them back at the point where this game actually means something.
Yes.
And Utah, Oregon, I expect a heavyweight bout there. Very physical. Keep an eye on it, though, because Bo Nix may or may not be playing. I guess he got concussed at the end of last week's game, and nobody's really heard anything on if he's playing.
Oh, wow.
So if Bo Nix is not playing, I don't think Oregon has a shot.
Yeah.
But if Bo Nix is playing, they got a shot against almost anyone at this point. So keep an eye on that one. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma to me is a very interesting one because Oklahoma is still fighting for that bowl game. They're 5-5 right now. So their season's on the line in these next 2 weeks. So definitely keep an eye on that one. Ole Miss, Arkansas should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They have the spread at 1.5 points there. Ooh. I kind of agree with that. It's going to be a very tight, very close game.
Oh, yeah.
What else we got here? I think Miami Clemson, just the way Clemson's played so poorly against everyone, they played to the level of their competition. That could be a close one.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people are sleeping on Miami because how their schedule has gone. They look, when you lose to Middle Tennessee State, you really can't come back from that type of loss. But dude, let's remember Miami's had a number of injuries on that team. This is the first year that Cristobal's got it. I get Van Dyke. We all expected him to be this Heisman hopeful at the beginning of the year, but he just hasn't had the guys around him consistently enough to be able to put certain tests together. They played well against us. We beat them 27-24. But I feel like they're a year out. Like they could turn it around this next coming year.
Oh, yeah.
But it pains me to see how much they've struggled, because I know I was on board. You were with me with Tyler Van Dyke, but even with Miami, we thought they definitely have a resurgence. But we'll see.
Yeah.
They'll get back.
Oh yeah, I think another thing is I don't think that Van Dyke necessarily fits the scheme that Josh Gaddis is trying to run there.
There you go. Yeah.
So I don't think it's a great fit. And that was something I thought right when they stole Gaddis from us, was I didn't necessarily think the fit worked very well, and it's kind of rearing its head there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cristobal, first year recruiting at Miami, first year implementing his scheme and his culture that he's trying to build, they'll be fine. Give them a year or two, they'll be right up there with everyone else.
Yeah. Ben said the LSU win for FSU earlier in the year looks good now, but at the time LSU wasn't ranked. Our 3 losses were against ranked teams. We haven't beat a ranked team all year, so I don't see a New Year's 6 bowl game. But hey, late December bowl game isn't bad either for the season we had so far. Yeah.
Now, what I will say is with the CFP rankings, they're looking at they don't look at it as, okay, LSU wasn't ranked when you beat them. They're looking at it as you beat LSU, who we have ranked 7th.
Yep.
Or 6th, sorry. So they look at it as, yeah, they might not have been ranked then, but this is still a very good team that you beat. So that works in your favor. I think, yeah, like I said, I think Clemson has to lose twice, and FSU's got to steal that at-large bid with UNC possibly making the playoff. But, yeah, New Year's 6 bowl looks a little iffy.
Yeah. Yeah. You need a lot of craziness to happen. But, hey,
yeah,
it's still possible. It's still possible.
It's college football. Anything can happen.
There you go. Speaking of which, Navy is up 7-0 on Central Florida right now. So anything can happen. You talk about somebody put a bomb in the middle of the whole thing and just everything blowing up. Yeah, we shall see. So yeah, right along those lines, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma Bedlam. You already know I've been kind of sneaking that word in all day. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's always a good matchup, and definitely this year with Oklahoma State being number 11 and Oklahoma unranked. So that will be interesting. For me, one of the biggest games that I'm very interested in watching is Auburn versus Western Kentucky. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that these teams are kind of terrible, blah, blah, blah. Auburn, we know Harsin was fired 2 weeks ago. They brought in Cadillac Williams. Cadillac Williams came in after just not even a full week, was able to beat a struggling Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher. But he got those guys bought in. Auburn was bought in. That crowd, it was electric that night. And one of the things that I absolutely loved is that what's Cadillac? Cadillac was a running back. Him and Ronnie Brown were that 2-headed monster. He brought that back. He had Tank Bigsby for over 100 yards, Jaquez Hunter over 100 yards on the ground, over 200 total yards rushing the ball. That's what Cadillac does. That's what he did. And obviously that's what he's putting time into. So, hey, watch out for them because they could be a new team. I don't know if they'll keep Cadillac going into next year, but I hope they do. They are playing against Western Kentucky. And ladies and gentlemen, any of you NFL people know Western Kentucky is most famous recently, at least, for their ex-quarterback Bailey Zappi, who now is in New England playing in a pseudo quarterback controversy with Mac Jones.
I think it should be, but it won't be.
Yeah, right. So, and we all remember him from a year ago, almost 6,000 passing yards and 62 passing touchdowns. Just absolutely playing out of his mind a year ago. He has the talent, and a lot of what the questions were in Western Kentucky is who's going to fill in his role, who's going to be the next guy to come in. We have a guy, Arthur Reed, out of West Florida. He actually took West Florida to the Division II national championship the year before. He's a 3-year starter for them. His numbers aren't nearly as good as Bailey's, but still over 3,500 yards, 31 TDs, and 7 interceptions. It's still a quality year. I honestly think this is going to be, the running game of Tank Bigsby and Jaquez Hunter and Auburn. versus a high-powered passing attack in Western Kentucky. So we'll see what happens in this one. I'm eager to see kind of two different, at the beginning of the year, I definitely had both these teams in different spots, but to see where they are now, I want to see what happens, how they're able to bring it together. And obviously, not to look ahead, but our final regular season matchup, North Carolina, I'm saying, is with one of our rivals, NC State, who plays Louisville today. Now, this game for me is all dependent on if Malik Cunningham plays. Right now, he's slated to play, the quarterback for Louisville. He has a shoulder injury, so they right now they're saying he's going to play, but we'll see how much that affects him. Louisville, we've seen they went toe-to-toe with Florida State. We've seen they've gone toe-to-toe Central Florida. They've gone toe-to-toe with a number of teams. So you have them playing number 24th ranked NC State, yes, without Devin Leary. However, they still have a quality team around him. So I'm very eager to see kind of how this one plays out. I think it could be one of these ACC shootouts if Malik Cunningham plays. So we'll definitely see what happens with that one. Is there any other games you got that you're looking at along with the other ones? We know about Georgia, Kentucky. You know what I mean? Some of these are blowouts like Alabama, Austin Peay, and things like that. But we know there are some games out there that are pretty solid. And you guys.
Keep an eye on TCU Baylor.
Ooh, yes.
TCU's going on the road again.
I know you and I were talking about it last week about how, Texas was supposed to be the one. And I was right there with you, and I don't know what happened to Texas. Maybe TCU's that good. But Baylor's another one.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, Baylor was the team that kept Oklahoma State out of that Final Four a year ago, beating them at the last play of the game. Is Baylor for real? Can we?
Are they for real? No, not this year. But I think TCU coming to them to play is a very tough thing for TCU to do, and we'll see what happens here. But they've only got TCU favored by 2.5, so not even a full field goal.
Right.
So I don't know what to think about this game, to be honest with you. It's going to go either TCU blowout or I think Baylor steals a close one. I think that's the only ways it goes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Anthony talked about it. There are certain teams that they come in and they like to play spoiler. Oklahoma State did it for several years. Kansas did it last year. This is one of those games that Baylor could potentially come in and just say, hey, we're shocking everybody. And then just like that, TCU, all the cards fall. So we'll see what happens in that one. What about you? Your game, Michigan, Illinois. I know Illinois is not ranked, but
it's still a very good football team. We better not overlook them.
Yeah.
They've got one of the best running backs in the nation in Corbin Brown. He's got 280 carries for 1,442 yards, 7 touchdowns. Other than the touchdowns, it looks very, extremely similar to Corum. Corum's got 227 for 1,349 yards. He's just got 17 touchdowns. So quite a difference there. But another thing people are overlooking is Illinois' got a top 5 defense right now, statistically.
Yes.
Very, very good defense. Now they have the spread at 17 points. I expect it to kind of be around there.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be the typical Michigan game, boring to watch for 2.5 quarters. We're going to just bludgeon them with the run game, and late third, early fourth is where we'll start to pull away.
Oh yeah. Now, no pressure, but we did beat them.
Yep. Yes, you did. And that's why I think we'll do the same.
Yo, let's go.
Stequavius
for Heisman. Let's go.
I love that.
Let's go. Hey, and you led right into it. Yo, there's a lot of games. Hopefully you guys definitely tune into them. There's games going on now. Our friend, Mr. Jason Swade, talking about watching that Navy game. We appreciate you, V. Oh, please no spoiler. Wow, yes. Yo, but look, let's go into it. We're almost close to the end of the show. We want to get you to these games, but we definitely have to talk about this. The Heisman Watch.
With team success comes individual success. So without y'all
would be nothing. Yes, the Heisman Watch, ladies and gentlemen. There's a number of guys on the list. The number of guys that people have been talking about. Some people have jumped up, some people have fallen down. Right now, you have the normal people on the list. You got the Hendon Hookers that we've all seen, the Bryce Youngs, the CJ Strouds, the obvious front runners. But then you got some guys that maybe we haven't been talking about, the Max Duggans, Bo Nix, who with this injury, that'll definitely drop him a little bit. Tar Heel Nation, Drake May, definitely getting some love. Your running back,
Blake Corum's in there,
balling. What are your thoughts, man? Like, where are you at right now, and how much do these losses play a factor in your pick?
These losses are gonna matter tenfold in this because you've got some big time games left. Now, for me, while these losses matter, the LSU loss for Alabama doesn't matter as much for Bryce Young because he still looked electric in that game. He was still absolutely insane. I was saying after that game that if they found a way to win that game, that touchdown that he escaped and threw that touchdown late in the game, that was his Heisman moment for me. I would have locked it away that it was his. But we haven't seen enough from really anyone to pull away because we had Hendon Hooker that was kind of running away, and then he looked bad against Georgia. Now, I mean, everyone looks bad against Georgia, so take that one with a grain of salt. You've had great moments from CJ Stroud, but then he couldn't throw the ball against Northwestern. And I know it was windy, but you still got to show up and do what you do. Bryce Young has been hit and miss in some games. To me, some of these guys that are crawling their way in, like Drake May and Corum and some of these next year guys, even Bo Nix, Caleb Williams is still in that discussion too. A lot of these guys, to me, have better resumes than the guys up top.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see because as far as I'm concerned right now, it is wide open with 2 weeks to go, which absolutely does not happen.
Right. And like you said, outside of Bryce Young, who has it? Who has the moment that makes you look back, even with TCU and Max Duggan? You know what I mean? Almost 3,000 total yards, but there's nothing I can really stick my finger on and say that moment. That's the one that made me think. To me, he's still an underdog. He's still one of these guys that's under the radar because, yes, he's getting the job done, but it's a team win. You know what I mean? How much of that is really on him?
And you compare that to Drake May for you guys, that comeback against Appalachian State where he started it.
Yeah.
He was the one that kicked that into gear. To me, that's a Heisman moment.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, Corum with these long runs and just tearing defenses apart. Those are Heisman moments. That touchdown for Bryce Young, like I said, that's a Heisman moment. Stroud hasn't really had one yet. Now he's got big platform against us to do so.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Caleb Williams has some big-time games here. So some of these guys have their chance to still have that Heisman moment. I think it might be a little too late for Hendon Hooker, although that Alabama game could be his. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Now, is this going to be predicated on just the record? Are we looking at a the Alabama teams are up there, but obviously Ohio State and Stroud, obviously, you got Hendon Hooker in there, but these top quarterbacks, or even Blake Corum, Michigan, I can see him jumping in.
Yep.
It's just like a year ago where Aiden Hutchinson, yes, he was definitely by far the best defensive and best defensive player a year ago, but having him jump in definitely was aided by the fact that the team beat Ohio State. The team was undefeated. Yeah. They won the Big Ten championship.
I mean, how 15 sacks, and he had the numbers to back it up. But yeah, the fact that Michigan was so good last year definitely aided that. Yeah.
So how much does that play in? I mean, does that elevate a Max Duggan if they go undefeated? You know what I mean?
Depends how these next two games go for them, or three games essentially, because they got Baylor, I can't remember who they have next week, and then the conference championship game against someone like Oklahoma State. If he goes and just absolutely balls out, then yeah, like I think he's got to be in that Final Four in New York.
Yeah.
Because record matters, but it's what you do with that record.
Yeah.
That's why I say the Bryce Young LSU loss doesn't hurt as much. The Caleb Williams Utah loss doesn't hurt as much because he still played very well. So it's, if you lose, you better look damn good doing it.
Yeah.
And if you win, you better be the reason why. And Max Duggan and that offense is the reason why TCU keeps winning.
Right.
So that's what's keeping him in that conversation. He's been very good all year, and the numbers back it up.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely the what stirs that drink. You know, he's definitely the straw that stirs the drink. But and look, if we want to look at it number wise, like I said, almost 4,000 total yards, almost 40 TDs. Drake May is definitely leading the pack as far as numbers. But I wonder, and I, I'm not gonna, I love North Carolina. I mean, you see what I'm wearing, and I'm not trying. I don't want to appear biased. What are the realistic shots for Drake May to get in there? I mean, does he has to get to the Final Four, or one loss is it done for him?
That's tough because you know me, I've been on that Drake May bandwagon all year. Like he's one of my favorite players to watch this year. So I'm the person that's saying he should be in there already.
Right.
I had him like week 5, week 6. He was in my top 5. So
that's right.
To me, this is a guy that should be getting more respect than he is.
Yeah.
And especially with some of these top guys not showing as much. Like to me, realistically, my top 5 in no particular order, I would go all these guys that have had their moments. You go Bryce Young, you go Caleb Williams, Drake May, Blake Corum, and Max Duggan. CJ Stroud falls just outside for me, and that's not a shot at Ohio State. It's just, if you're looking at what the Heisman's been, he hasn't shown me anything for that.
Right.
I still think he's the best quarterback in the country, CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
Like, I've got mad respect for that guy. It's just when it comes to the Heisman, I don't think he's done enough.
And I think it's gonna really be interesting to see how he is able to move that offense with the recent injuries to some of their running backs. We know how that running game is, and a lot of people have talked about, a lot of people are going back to last year. Oh, well, the issue that Ohio State had against Michigan was the weather, and they couldn't play in the weather and this and that. And so one of the things that I've seen them do this year, they've been running the ball. They've been dedicating to that. So they're building up. But I mean, look, to your point, man, and a name that we didn't mention before that you mentioned, Caleb Williams. Yeah. He's in that conversation. And, for them, the best player on one of the best teams. I mean, he can do it. But here's another one. And this is why I say, and Colin, I see you up here. This is why I say, does it have to do with team success? Stetson Bennett. His numbers are not on top of these Heisman lists. His numbers aren't top tier. But if you're talking about a man that has complete control of that offense and complete control of that team, that's him 100%. He's had the moment shutting down certain, like the Tennessees. Maybe winning the SEC championship will be that second moment for him. But, I mean, how much weight can you put in an argument for Stetson Bennett?
So, with the argument I made earlier on the record, if you win, you better be the reason why. You could make the argument that he's not the straw that stirs that drink. It's Brock Bowers or McConkey or some of these other guys. Yeah. So I think having such big-time weapons, and for me, that's the same thing with Stroud, is Marvin Harrison Jr. is the guy that everyone's talking about on that offense right now. So I think that actually hurts Stroud a little bit. Because to me, Harrison Jr. right now is the number 1 receiver in the country. And I hate saying they got the best quarterback and best receiver, but that's what it looks like right now. So
I know that pains you, man. I'm sorry.
No, yeah. I just hope they don't look like it next week. That's all I want.
There it is.
But yeah, I think for Stetson, and he's another guy that I love watching because he's a typical guy that I love the whole calling everyone back to prank call him and all that. Like getting what's yours. I absolutely love that.
That was balling when he went out here in the end zone. It was like, call me now. Call me now. Let's go.
You look at it, he's the kind of guy that I would consider that Tennessee game his Heisman moment.
Absolutely.
He went there and I was just about to say this call. He's made some big time plays in big time games.
Absolutely.
So I just think playing devil's advocate, I think you're going to look at Brock Bowers, you're going to look at McConkey, you're going to look at everyone else on that offense. And, I mean, unfortunately, too many people hate on Stetson already. I think he deserves way more credit than he gets.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, it's just – I think that's what's going to push him out.
Yeah, and for some of these teams, like a Caleb Williams, like a Stetson Bennett, I think the more balanced your team is, the less credit you get. And it's a shame because Stetson is the straw that stirs the drink, but at the same time, that defense is great. The receivers are great. Bowers, the running game is getting going. You know what I mean? And there have been games, that Kent State game, the Mizzou game, there have been games, even the last one, Stetson threw, or not the last one, a couple weeks ago, Stetson threw a couple interceptions, had a fumble. So there have been little mishaps, this and that, but the team definitely follows him, but the balance, the fact that you have, pick your poison almost, I think might work a little bit in against him. So we will see. You said, repeat your 5 again.
So in no particular order, I've got Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Blake Corum, Max Duggan.
Oh, I like that.
All 5 guys that have had moments.
Yeah, you
can make solid arguments. They're the reason they've won games. Or if they've lost games in the case of Drake May and Bryce Young, they weren't the reason they lost. They were the reason they were still in those games. So
exactly.
To me, that's my 5, and I know a lot of people would disagree with that, but that's mine.
No, I get it. Yeah, so for me, same in no particular order. Definitely Bryce Young. Got to throw in my guy Drake May. Caleb Williams, especially if they are able to pull it out. CJ, because he's up there. And I will put in Stetson because the number one quarterback on the best team, continually winning. You got to go all the way back to last year. I mean, he's undefeated in the last 2 years. You know what I mean? I think that should mean something. And, we'll see if the Heisman voters think the same thing. But that's my 5 at the moment.
The one thing people have to remember is the Heisman is not the MVP award.
True.
That is their Maxwell award.
Yeah.
So I think someone like Stetson should be more a front runner for that, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Heisman, I don't think there's really a comparison for what the Heisman is.
Yeah.
This is
the best.
Essentially the most electrifying player, the top player with the biggest moments that didn't really have those down moments.
Right.
So it's unlike any other award in any sport that I can think of, honestly.
Oh, and that's why we love it. That's why we're here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
All great points would be great thing to add to Stetson's story. Yeah. Look, Stetson's making enough of a case for him. I mean, if you would have asked me a year ago if this guy would even been drafted, I would have give you a long pause and looked at you kind of funny. Now, I mean, I could see this dude being a third, maybe 4th rounder. I mean, you get him on the right team, maybe even late 2nd. Yeah. I mean, the guy is quality. He's played with solid team, and he's played a number of big games in the last several years. He's bounced back from adversity, and he was a walk-on. You got to shout this guy out. But to your point, you're absolutely right. The Heisman is like no other, and it literally is the most electrifying. And that's why we talk so much about the Heisman moment. You know what I mean? What's that thing that you remember? To this day, everybody can go back to that hat on your head and remember a little guy, number 21, who returns a punt against the arch rival and then hits him with the Heisman.
Or even Charles Woodson, like everything he was doing. Like
right. I mean, it's just not you. You just know. You just know by these certain moments to be certain guys, the electrifying, everything like that. So
you look and you just say, "That's it.
That's him." Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, so ladies and gentlemen, we're here. We're coming to the end. We appreciate you guys kicking it with us. We know the games are 10 minutes away, so we're not going to hold you that long, but we're gutsy and we're going for 2. Yeah, buddy. Alex, I'm gonna let you answer this one right quick. Are there set points? Are there a set of points that are looked at for the Heisman consideration?
That's an interesting question because I don't know if there necessarily is. I mean, everyone looks at, like, when we're debating Heisman, it's okay, look at these big time games. What do they do in those big time games? Do they have that memorable play? Do they like we said, Desmond Howard with the return and that Heisman pose? You've got Joe Burrow with those touchdown passes in that Alabama game. You've got Devonta Smith with all those deep touchdowns. Like, you've got memorable moments that we can look back to for Heisman winners for the last few decades that everyone still remembers. So I think that is the main thing, is obviously you got to handle your business. The Heisman never goes to some 3-4 loss team. It's always been one of these teams up at the top. So handle your business and just be electrifying. Honestly, be somebody that people are talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yo, so, hey, going for 2 right before the games. What you got, man?
For me, as the Michigan guy being up at the top, and you see a lot of these teams have matchups where they could be looking to next week or 2 weeks down the line. Handle your business this week. Don't overlook the opponents in front of you, because UCLA did that last week and they're gone now. Handle your business today.
Yeah.
Don't be looking to Ohio State. Don't be, if you're Georgia, don't be getting ready for LSU. Don't worry about what's coming. Worry about what's here right now.
Yep. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, and I'm just going to piggyback right off of that. I say the same thing for us. Don't overlook Georgia Tech. Don't overlook NC State. You play what's in front of you. And I say that for all of us as fans. Don't look to the bowl games. Don't look to the conference championships. That stuff will come in due time. Pay attention to what's right in front of you. Pay attention to all these games and these Saturdays where you can sit and watch college football, because before you know it, it'll be gone. Yeah. So we shall see. Look, ladies and gentlemen, hey, that's it. That's what we got for you this day, this Saturday. College football is less than 10 minutes away. Man, I'm so excited that we're able to continue to watch college football. I'm loving that we're still talking about it, getting down, man. Let's go, man. So, hey, best of luck.
Very well right there, too.
Yep. There it is.
Just live in the moment. Whatever's happening, just live in the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, that's why we're here, to see what happens. And we'll be right back this next week to give you all the news and notes and break down all the occurrences. And somebody might be in khakis sometime soon.
There's no might be. There's no might be. It's happening.
Let's go. Here we go, baby.
You catch Thursday night me and Alec, because he decided to hop in on it with me. He's joining me for it. And then Saturday for that big game, it'll be happening again.
Let's go. Let's go. Oh, and Ben Cornett, if we win the ACC championship, I got some Tar Heel blue for you, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Oh, man. Yo, for me, Sean Spencer, my guy over here, Mr. Alex Loosemore, we appreciate you. And, hey, enjoy your day. Enjoy some college football.
Yeah.
And we are going to let you go. Okay, on the other college food. All right. We'll see y'all next time. My bad, guys.